I'm here with Kim Shiller from the Psychosynthesis Trust in London. And Kim, I'm so happy to have this conversation with you because you are really part of the root system of the Psychosynthesis Academy here in Stockholm. London is where we came from. So welcome. I would like us to try to bring out our crystal balls and look into the future and see where is the future of psychosynthesis? Where are we going with psychosynthesis? But first of all, can you establish a bit of frame for us about the trust and what is the trust now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's lovely to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Erik. So I'm going to give a very brief history. In 1965, at the time Assagioli wrote his books, he established the trust as a charity. And Diana Whitmore took it over in the in the 70s on the bequest of Assagioli, and in the 80s set up the training. And pretty much the training that we do in England, and there'll be a resonance of the training that you do in Sweden that is formed from that. We still work from some of those notes. So that's quite a powerful kind of baseline. I think that where we are at the moment is we're in an incredible and expanding time. So over the last couple of years, we've seen increasing numbers of students, of people wanting to understand and to work with and to develop with the psychosynthetic framework. I think because of the internet, and this will help us in our next piece that we speak to, we more easily found psychosynthesis is read more easily across the world. And so we take 2 intakes of students a year in February and in September. So our courses are continuous.
Yep.
And the way we work is continuous. You know, in normal times, our building is full of trainings, and on any weekend, we might have 3 different groups, at an outlier, 4 different groups that are in training.
Yeah.
That might be CPD, but it might also, you know, be our normal core programs. We run a postgraduate, which is, so first of all, students will do a foundation year, a year of self-development, and then 2 years, which are part of a counselling qualification. And then a further 2 years to become a psychotherapist. And that each of those has different layers of accreditation. So we've got two main regulating bodies in the UK. In the past 5 years, a 3rd regulating body has come up. It's a big thing. I think it's one of the trends that we can speak to. Our students at the end of the counselling course can belong to the BACP, the British Association of Counsellors and Psychotherapists.
Yeah.
And that's really important. You can't get a job in the UK without it.
And they then can be a part of the NHS, National Healthcare System, right?
That's it.
Yeah. So where do you see? What's your idea about what attracts this increasing influx of students? Is it the personal development work, or is it the counseling title, or is it the psychotherapist level? What holds the most energy?
There's been a shift. We've got younger people than we've had in the past, good young people, really inspired young people. Whereas 20 years ago when I trained, it wasn't appealing to young people, but also the kind of young people that were looking didn't have the life experience that we know is really important in this line of work. I think so that's a trend that I see, and young men as well.
Yeah.
Deep self-development. People are fearless and hungry.
that's really something we see here as well. We our teachers often say that, wow, the level of the students now when they enter the first year of training, they're already so far ahead if we compare to 5 years ago. So I think something is moving in society, I think. The kind of work we do is moving into the mainstream. People are listening to their podcasts and reading and going to retreats like crazy.
Yeah, that's it. And there's like the word soul, we used to pretend or try and hide it. And we're in that frame where that's what people are looking for. Like a spiritual intelligence is more part of what is the purpose, meaningful, the drive, you know. I think it falls against a background where people just work to live.
Yeah, and more asking themselves questions about meaning. And in the UK, is it okay to talk openly about searching for soul or being on a spiritual path?
Increasingly, you know, and certainly my landscape, my lenses, the people that I come across, those are the questions that they're asking about. And it doesn't mean that everyone's asking that question. You know, as Jolie said, you know, sometimes we do the right thing for the wrong reasons. So some people come in not knowing that yet, or having a different expression. I'm getting a lot of people who are pretty pragmatic, and the way they frame psychosynthesis or spirituality is holds differences.
So I can really sense into that. We can share that view on reality here in Stockholm as well, that people are really interested. We also have a influx of people, more and more people coming to the training. We're filling our groups. We've had waiting lists now for the essentials training. And we have right now, today, we started an essentials group with 70% men. And having a majority of men in the essentials training, that's, for us, it's the first time.
That's great.
So something is moving.
Yeah, it's great. It's very exciting.
So speaking of what's moving in society, I'm curious about your take on psychosynthesis in society, and what kind of contribution psychosynthesis can be in this society. And I realize I'm curious about this when I'm talking to you in London, because in London you are even more part of the official system. You're in the healthcare system, and you can move. I imagine that you can move and act in that system. Here in Sweden, we're still on the side of the official system, but I know that there is a lot of impact we can have, and we can sometimes even maybe have a greater impact in this more free position. But you, as a player in the public system and in society in England and in the UK, what do you see about the social impact of psychosynthesis?
There's two questions there, Erik. The one is about the social impact.
There are probably like 25 questions in there.
I'll answer it step by step, and So the first bit is that this is an incredible time of change. You know, in England, we've COVID, we've got Brexit, we've got so many pieces that are, even in terms of the George Floyd murders 2 years ago, these have all created quite dramatic change. We've got environmental issues. I think never before have people lived in such changeable times, where actually what we do matters. So that's one of the, that's multiple threads, multiple threads. I think that one of the things, that was your first question about what psychosynthesis brings. I think it brings a way of living with paradox, with complexity, and being able to find our own way through, but including ourselves in it. So the change that needs to be wrought can only be wrought, as you know, as we all know, if I know how to manage myself, if I know more about myself. Does that make similar sense with yours?
Yeah, it's really holding complexity is probably one of the keys. The key. I was almost about to call it a skill, but it's a bit reductionist to call it a skill. But let's call it a skill. We obviously need to hold complexity, and I see a lot of tendencies still trying to simplify things and still trying to come up with the perfect answer, but it looks like it's not going to work out that easily. Complexity will be here, and it will increase probably. That's my take on it.
Yeah, so I think it's about this bearing the tension of the opposites, the tension of the polarities. And so that, and I'm not talking yet about synthesis, but it's part of that big piece.
Just holding the polarities before synthesis, only that is a big thing.
And that's part of the integration, I guess.
And Kim, if we're thinking now that we're engaging with the community of psychosynthesis therapists and trainees, etc., who already are really into this, and they probably know what we're talking about, like saying, yeah, I know. So if this is so great, how does it connect to society, to what's actually happening? What can we actually do? What do you see? What are you doing in terms of reaching out to society?
I've got a question before that, because so the other thing that's going on in England, and this might be where we headed as a world, is that over the last years there's been a thread of awareness raising about wellness and well-being.
Yeah.
And so that well-being piece has really meant that our current 20 years ago, you'd take time to build up a practice, whereas at the moment, I know somebody who advertised herself and within a week was referring people on. Practice was full. I mean, that is an extraordinary outlier, but that tells you about the need.
The need is big.
Yeah.
The need for
being seen, for being able to make sense, for being able to have somebody stand by with a complexity, the need for learning how to be resilient in the face of our vulnerabilities, you know, holding the tension. Yeah. So I think that's a big piece that's happening here, and that's really a big shift. And it's happened over time, but I imagine that that's part of a wider context. And so the next piece, what are we doing about social impact? I share that in our board meetings with our trustees over the Diana Whitmore was one of our trustees, and the original training was held in the ground floor of Diana and one of our other trustees' homes, and so Michael is also part of our trustee board. One of the things that we've been talking about, we meet at least 4 times a year. One of the things that we've been talking about is about how do we broaden psychosynthesis. And certainly Asa Jolie saw counseling and psychotherapy as one part of a piece.
Yeah.
You know? And so it feels limiting to think that this is the only way that psychosynthesis can be expressed in the world. And in the last years, I've also seen a builder trend of psychosynthesis being used, or transpersonal being used in business and coaching in organization. I think that's an interesting piece. But in our discussions, we looked at what needs there were, and there's just so much need in the world. We look at ecology, we look at homelessness, we look at the huge range of different needs that are around. And we also looked at us as an organization and our resources. And so at the end of last year, we advertised a post, an equal member of our leadership team as a social impact director. And she started last week and is like a pig in mud, researching and finding a place that we can have a social impact.
Yeah, I saw that before Christmas, that you called it social impact director, right, or something.
Because we didn't have a better name, but it's really.
But it's a great name. How can we have an impact in this society? That's my take on it.
That's it.
Yeah. So you have a person.
Yes.
Dedicated to that question.
Yes.
I so much want to just jump ahead 6 months and see where you will be with that work. Then.
Yeah. I've just come out of a meeting where she was sharing some of her findings across different areas. So it's quite exciting. I don't know where we'll end up. But of course, social psychosynthesis as a tool to make change in the world, it's not new. It's not a new idea.
No, and still, I think it's. I mean, if something's going to happen, you have to do something. And now you're taking a step and assigning a person to actually look into it, because I think we share a history here of being, at least what I experience in the academy here in Stockholm. I can really feel that we are rooted in the counseling and therapy. In that lineage, in that's what we do in our trainings. We train therapists, and as you said, also Asajoli said that, well, there are different ways to express and to use psychosynthesis. In therapy is one of them, and groups and society, etc.
That's it.
But it's very in what we actually do. So far, we're quite focused on one thing, and not so much the others, the broader.
No, he spoke about education, he spoke about gifted children, he spoke about families, he spoke about exactly about the individual, the group, and the societal level.
Have you done anything in the UK with psychosynthesis in schools?
Yes, so Diana Whitmore, I worked with Diana in a charity in London for 15 years, and that was a social psychosynthesis social project.
Okay, so
that was
there is a history on this, I can hear.
Yeah. Amazing to see the impact, and the power of it is not about using the words of psychosynthesis. So, I never said to the young people that we were working with in the egg diagram, or, but in the way of being, the implementing of those philosophies, the impact is just tremendous. I think there's massive more work. Diana continues to do a project in Scotland.
Yeah.
So located around Inverness area. Yeah.
Great. I was just curious about education and school, because, well, if we're looking ahead and looking to the future in 15 years time, or like looking to 2040, well, if we're going to change the world, it's not going to be you and me. It's going to be the next generation. And I love what I hear from Italy and the work they're doing with the Verso Foundation, with working with teachers, and so a lot of things. Some things are going on around young people as well, but not so much here in Sweden with psychosynthesis yet.
Yeah. I think also possibly one of our limitations is that we can be attached to the word psychosynthesis.
Yeah.
And the work is much more important. It speaks volumes.
That's a good one. How do we relate to the word psychosynthesis, and what do we call it? What do you think in long term, if you look ahead 10 years from now, will all the world know psychosynthesis, or will we just do the work and call it something else?
That's a really good question, and I think it's about humility. I think it's about, I'll be interested to see where it goes. I think in different areas we might frame it in different ways, with a link back, so that the roots are upheld. The heritage, the lineage is in service and paid service to.
Yes.
I wonder.
Yeah. And what comes to me when we talk about that is that, well, the work is at the center, and then what we call it is not so important. And also what I often consider psychosynthesis as some kind of open source framework. It's not static, it's moving, and that's the point.
Yeah.
So that's part of it.
I think there's another trend. Like I look around and I see amazing people and the new books that are out. So I look at Thomas Yeoman, phenomenal. I look at the work that Petro Gugasberg-Celli's done, and I look at the work of the EPA and even at the Trust. What I see is there's people from around the world joining in the CPDs that we offer. There's a real connect, and I think that's something that psychosynthesis brings. Every time I go anywhere that psychosynthesis, we talk about connection. So developing those threads of connection across, I think, is part of the possibility. I think we're at an age of coming out.
Yeah, maybe that's so. That's what I hope for. That time has it took 100 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost exactly 100 years since Assagioli published his dissertation. So maybe it took 100 years, and now is the time, more than before, at least. Who knows?
The other interesting thing is about language. I wonder as well what words he might use today, because they'll be in a context. How do we hold and move forward? How do we hold the nuggets, a lived expression, and move forward so that it's contemporary, so we can speak without being.
And Kim, I'm also, I don't know if I was really listening to you now, because I was jumping ahead. I have one more thread that I want to check in with you on, and that's about psychosynthesis and academia. It's connected to what we call it. Will we be able to take a master's in psychosynthesis? Or
please God, we're able to.
Because right now we're not, right? Here in Sweden, no. Are we able to do it?
So in England, I guess not at the moment. I haven't got a university, but absolutely, universities. I finished with a university because of the changes that are being made in academia. It's not, so we have had postgrad and a master's. There our courses are at that level, as yours will be. But the world in terms of academia is changing, and in terms of regulation is changing. So I think.
So right now you're outside academia, but you've been in academia.
For a year, and for just over a year we were outside,
yeah.
but I'm working on new partnerships.
Oh, so that's, you're looking into it again, and that's
Yeah.
And the Middlesex University has something with the Psychosynthesis
Right.
Institute, right? So there is psychosynthesis coaching masters or something. There is,
and also a BSc. So the Psychosynthesis Institute have a BSc in psychosynthesis,
okay,
and an MSc.
Good. So we are able to take a master's in psychosynthesis already. So is that where we need to go? Does psychosynthesis have to lean in towards the academic system, or, I mean, this connects to a lot of philosophy about knowledge and philosophy about what is academic knowledge versus experiential and phenomenological work, etc. This is a big theme, but what's your sense? In 10 years from now, will we stand closer to academia, or will we move away from it? What's your sense?
I think that the world is changing in terms of standardization, in terms of regulation. My sadness is that usually it evolves out of a fear or something having gone wrong. And it also helps to create a sense of public standing alongside. I think if I look at our history, so we were one of the first organizations that was regulated by BACP. We were the second, in fact, and one of the early organizations with UKCP. It's been part of our history, and I'll certainly stand at pushing it forward. But I look at the world and I can see so much around us where people are aligning to higher education, to principles and practices. And there's something important in that. It stands us in a state that, the general public can see where we are. I think it also makes us more professional. And that doesn't mean, I've met people in Sweden, practitioners, and I'm incredibly impressed by my colleagues. I think that it would benefit all of us.
And I can also, what I see on the horizon is that the academic system is also coming back to more of an openness in what you can include in academia. I mean, in a sense, if you look at science at its best includes intuition and fantasy and body and movement, and it's so much of, if I think of the star diagram that we use in psychosynthesis.
Yes.
I mean, there are so many ways to science also. It's not only left hemisphere focus, but we've had a very strong focused energy in science and academia for a long time, and maybe there is a shift also in academia that is more inclusive of the kind of work that we have, that is more integrative.
Yeah, I think
this is highly speculative and maybe wishful thinking.
No, I think you're onto something. I'm just remembering one of Piero Ferrucci's recent books that he brought out. A chapter's devoted to looking at how current research, neuroscience, links with the models of Assagioli. So really making direct links. I look at Petra's work, and part of that is about building a scientific body of information. I think that's been one of our weaknesses, Erik. And I think that if we could come together to find ways to put our work out that holds more rigor, if quantum science can find a way to work and share the phenomenological responses, my hope is that we can also contribute to that world. Positive psychology's done at the turn of the century, they came out with incredible research.
Yes.
And it holds similarity to our work.
Absolutely. So Kim, if we would wrap this conversation up in a few minutes, what do we take from this?
I think the world is open and exciting. I think the possibility, I think it's all about possibility and moving with that flow, becoming more rigorous, but also really being inspired.
Becoming more rigorous in what sense do you mean?
In terms of thinking about academia, thinking about regulation and stuff like that. So that's one of the trends, but also the need in the world is another trend, how we meet that need, moving beyond what we've known. And for you?
I find it really inspiring that you are exploring this the social impact side of psychosynthesis, and really actually dedicating a person at the Psychosynthesis Trust to look into where you can have impact, and I imagine collaborate with others to have impact in society in ways beyond being the therapist training institute, etc. That really inspires me, that you're actually doing it right now, because I really share your notion of the needs being big. And you also said something about what, if you would say something, what you see about the needs. We talked about complexity and the ability to hold.
Yeah. So I think increasingly we live in a volatile world. And what I mean by that is our planet, the anxiety that young people live with that we didn't have to. We didn't hold that same awareness. And, changing times in England, cost of living's going up, there's a lot about separation, about loneliness, about anxiety in a new way. It's always been there. As Jolie talked about loneliness. Thomas Yeoman spoke to As Jolie about loneliness in their meeting.
Loneliness and separation, really that's kind of a theme of this of the time that we've been living in. And sometimes I think you probably seen these map of values in the world, where Sweden has this top right corner position with the most individualistic and the most secular country in the world. Have you seen that? Have you seen that graphic?
I'd love you to share it with me.
I'll share it with you. But it's called the World Values Survey. Brilliant. And well, I think we are more and more people are moving beyond the secular paradigm and moving more into looking for meaning. And here we are, both we in Stockholm and you in London. We have more and more students coming. The groups are fully booked. Obviously, there is a need for something.
A real heightened knowing that there has to be more to living.
There has to be more to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you, Kim. I think that's a good place to stop. There needs to be more.
Lovely to speak. Appreciation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kim.